how much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it? What if I told you that the very emotion you've been told to suppress, avoid, or fear, your anger, could actually become your greatest source of power? That the storm inside you isn't a curse to be tamed, but raw energy waiting to be forged into laser-sharp focus. The truth is, most people let their rage burn them from the inside out, wasting it on outbursts, grudges, or silent resentment. But a Stoic knows better. A Stoic turns fire into fuel. With the right mindset, your anger can become the catalyst that drives your discipline, sharpens your decisions, and propels you toward your goals with unstoppable force. In this video, we're going to uncover the ancient Stoic alchemy that transforms destructive fury into a tool for clarity, productivity, and personal mastery. We'll strip away the myths, reveal the principles, and walk you step by step through this transformation. So stay with me until the very end, because once you learn how to turn anger into power, you'll never see this emotion the same way again. You'll stop being consumed by it and start commanding it. Number 1, recognize anger as a signal, not a directive. When anger surges, your first instinct is often to obey it, react, snap, lash out. But here's the truth. Anger is not a commander, it's a messenger. Put it simply, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. That includes the storms within. When you start seeing anger as a signal, like a flare shot up into the sky, you take back control. It's telling you something. A boundary's been crossed, an injustice perceived, a value threatened. But it's not telling you how to respond. That part is entirely yours to decide. The problem is, most people blur the signal with the directive. They feel anger and immediately think, I must act on this. That's when chaos takes over. The Stoics knew this trap well. Epictetus warned, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The reaction is where your power lives. So here's the habit to build. The moment you feel the heat rise, don't move, don't speak. Let the signal register without letting it drive the wheel. You're not ignoring your anger, you're decoding it. Ask yourself, what exactly is this pointing to? What truth is buried underneath the fire? The more you practice this pause, the more space you create between feeling and action. That's the space where you can turn raw rage into precise focus. Seneca called anger brief madness, and he wasn't being poetic. When you act in anger, you're essentially handing over your mind to chaos. But when you see it as a signal, you become the interpreter, not the puppet. Here's a simple exercise to anchor this in your daily life. Spot it fast. The second you notice your pulse quicken or your chest tighten, label it silently. This is anger. Breathe deep. 3 slow breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Give your brain oxygen and your mind a fraction of calm. Interrogate the message. Ask, what is this trying to alert me to? Focus on the underlying cause, not the face of the emotion. Choose consciously. Decide whether this is a moment to act, speak, or simply let it pass. The key is repetition. At first, you'll catch yourself too late. You'll notice the signal after you've already acted. That's fine. Each time you reflect afterward, you're training awareness. Over time, the gap between the rise of anger and your recognition of it gets smaller. Eventually, you'll spot it the instant it appears, like a watchman on a high wall seeing trouble approach from miles away. Remember, the Stoic doesn't kill emotion, they master it. The fire doesn't vanish, it's simply no longer running wild. You'll find that when you treat anger as a signal, it stops being a chain around your neck and becomes a compass in your hand. If you're willing, I can also expand this into the next stage. How to turn that signal into focused action without losing your Stoic composure. That's where the real alchemy happens. Number 2, pause and breathe deeply to disrupt the emotional surge. When anger begins to surge, your body reacts before your mind has even caught up. Your breath shortens, your muscles tighten, and your thoughts start racing toward words or actions you might later regret. This is the moment where the Stoics would remind you, you are still in control if you choose to be. Once wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. And the simplest gateway to regaining that power is something so basic it's often overlooked: pausing and breathing. A pause is not weakness. It's not avoidance. It's the deliberate act of stepping out of the emotional storm long enough to see clearly. Think of it as interrupting the chain reaction before it detonates. That pause creates space. Space for reason, space for choice, space for you to decide who you want to be in the next moment. Deep breathing is the anchor in that space. When you draw a slow, intentional breath, you're sending a direct message to your nervous system. We are safe. We are calm. Stand down. Your body responds, heart rate lowers, tension eases, mind begins to clear. And with each exhale, you release a fraction of that anger, making room for clarity to enter. The Stoics were masters of reclaiming the mind through physical control. Epictetus taught that it's not events themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them. Breathing interrupts that instant leap from stimulus to judgment. You're not erasing the emotion. You're containing it long enough to refine it into something useful. Hear how you can turn this into practice. Catch the surge the moment you feel the tightening in your chest, the heat in your face, or the rush of energy. Name it silently. Anger is here. Pause, no matter what, even if it's just for 3 seconds. Stop moving, stop speaking. Imagine hitting a mental freeze frame. Breathe with intention. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4. Hold for a count of 4. Exhale for a count of 6. Repeat at least 3 times. Let each exhale feel like you're letting go of some of that fire. Return with choice. Ask yourself, what would the wiser version of me do next? Then act from that place. The more you practice this, the faster your mind will learn to pair the feeling of anger with the habit of slowing down. In time, that pause will become your natural first response, not an afterthought. By mastering this, you're not suppressing your anger, you're transmuting it. You're taking raw, chaotic energy and forging it into focus, precision, and strength. That is Stoic alchemy in action, transforming what could destroy you into something that empowers you. If you wish, I can also craft the next section on turning the pause into a mental redirection technique, so it becomes more than just calming down. It becomes weaponized focus. Would you like me to do that? Number 3, redirect your energy from reaction to deliberate action. When anger hits, it's tempting to let it pull you into quick, impulsive reactions. But if you're walking the Stoic path, you already know power lies in choice. Put it clearly, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. That means your energy is your own, and you decide where it flows. Instead of spilling it into emotional outbursts, you can redirect it into deliberate, intentional action. Anger is still energy, intense, raw, and forceful. But it's up to you whether that force scatters into noise or channels into something sharp and effective. Think of it like taking a wild, raging river and guiding it through turbines to produce power. The key is pausing, not suppressing, not denying, but pausing. In that pause, you ask, what's my aim here? If you skip that step, anger drives you. If you take it, you drive anger. And when you drive it, you can choose to put it behind a purpose instead of a reaction. Epictetus warned, any person capable of angering you becomes your master. So the first act of freedom is to refuse that leash. Breathe. Feel the heat without being burned. Then set a clear target for your energy, a task, a solution, a boundary. That's how you transmute rage into focus. You give it a mission. Here, how to practice. Catch the surge the instant you feel anger rising. Label it silently. This is energy. This small recognition creates distance between you and the emotion. Anchor the breath. Inhale slowly to a count of 4. Hold for 2. Exhale for 6. Do this at least 3 cycles. You're not calming yourself down so much as sharpening your awareness. Name the outcome. Ask yourself, what do I actually want to happen next? Make it concrete, something you can act on. Act with precision. Use your words, your movements, your choices with intention. Cut the unnecessary. Focus on the single next move that serves your purpose. When you shift from reacting to acting, you're no longer a slave to the moment, you become the sculptor of it. And the beauty is, this doesn't just keep you from making rash mistakes, it forges a deep inner steadiness. Remember, anger isn't the enemy. Misplaced anger is. Direct it, and you're not just avoiding harm, you're turning raw fire into refined steel. And every time you do, you strengthen the habit of mastery. If you want, I can also write a short, hard-hitting version of this point that could be used as a power-packed intro quote for the article. Would you like me to? Number 4. Use anger as fuel to sharpen your focus on goals. Anger is a force. Left untamed, it blinds you, pulls you into petty battles, and drains your energy. But when you learn to channel it, anger becomes fuel, a concentrated surge of life that can sharpen your focus and push you toward your goals with a clarity few other emotions can match. The Stoics never told you to be emotionless. They taught you to master your emotions. As Seneca said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." Anger, when approached with reason, is one such test. When you feel that fire rise in your chest, resist the urge to scatter it in every direction. Instead, pull it inward. Let it illuminate your path, not burn it down. Ask yourself, what exactly am I angry about? Strip away the noise until you uncover the core, the obstacle, the injustice, the challenge. Then point all that energy toward one thing, action that moves you forward. Anger becomes dangerous when it's aimless. It becomes power when it's precise. This is where focus comes in. The Stoics valued the discipline of directing your mind like an arrow, narrow, unwavering, hitting the mark. You can turn your anger into this arrow. When you feel the heat of rage, picture your goal like a fixed point on the horizon. Every thought, every movement, every breath becomes a step toward it. You're not running from your anger. You're running with it, fast, steady, and in the right direction. Practical Stoic exercise. Pause and ground yourself when anger strikes. Stop. Breathe deeply 3 times. Anchor yourself in the present moment. Name the trigger, identify the precise cause. Avoid vague thinking. Clarity strips anger of its chaos. Choose one target, pick a goal, something meaningful that your energy can serve. This could be a task, a skill, a plan. Channel, don't leak. Use the physical tension of anger to fuel your work. Pour it into disciplined, deliberate action. Reflect afterward. Once the storm passes, review your response. Did it move you closer to your goal or further away? Adjust accordingly. Remember, power isn't in suppressing anger, it's in transforming it. Wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. When you master the art of channeling anger into focus, you're no longer a victim of your emotions, you're their commander. The next time you feel that familiar rush, don't see it as an interruption. See it as a signal. A reservoir of energy has just been unlocked. Don't waste it on arguments or distractions. Pour it all into the work that matters most to you. That's Stoic alchemy, turning raw, volatile emotion into something sharp, steady, and unstoppable. If you'd like, I can also craft a short, punchy, philosopher's battle cry version of this for quick daily motivation. Number 5. Reflect regularly to transform anger into lasting wisdom. Anger can feel like fire in your veins, hot, consuming, impossible to ignore. But here's the truth the Stoics knew well. Left unchecked, that fire burns you from the inside. Guided, however, it becomes a forge, shaping you into someone sharper, wiser, unshakable. The key to this transformation is reflection, steady, honest, deliberate reflection. Without it, your anger is just noise. With it, it becomes a signal. Wrote, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Reflection is how you adjust that estimate. It's where you stop reacting and start learning. You step back, not to run from the heat, but to understand it, its source, its meaning, and its potential to be redirected towards something greater. When you make reflection a habit, you train yourself to dissect the moment without judgment. You see patterns in your thinking. You notice the triggers that light the spark, and more importantly, you notice your choices afterward. This process takes your focus off what anger did to you and places it on what it can do for you, if you channel it. Here's the practice. After every moment of anger, big or small, pause later in the day for 5 minutes. In silence, replay the moment in your mind. Ask, what exactly triggered me? Was my reaction in my control, or did I hand that control away? What would the wiser version of me have done? Don't try to justify. Don't try to condemn yourself either. Just observe. Write your answers down. Over time, you'll see your thinking evolve. You'll watch your emotional reflexes slow down, giving space for choice. Reflection is not about erasing anger. It's about refining it. Seneca said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." Reflection creates that delay, not in the moment, but in your future moments. Every time you examine your past anger, you're programming yourself to meet the next one with more poise. And here's the quiet power in this. Wisdom gained from reflection doesn't fade. Once you see a truth about yourself, you can't unsee it. That insight becomes part of your armor. The same situation that once had you clenching your fists now meets a mind that is still, clear, and unshaken. So make reflection a non-negotiable ritual. Let it be the lens that turns every burst of rage into a lesson you carry forward. In time, you won't just be controlling your anger. You'll be mastering it, bending it into focus, and using it as fuel for a life lived with deliberate strength. If you want, I can also give you a concise Stoic-style closing paragraph that would make this section hit even harder. Remember, anger is not your enemy. It's raw energy waiting to be shaped. The true alchemy lies in transforming that fire into calm, unstoppable focus. As said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Now, it's your turn to take control. If you're ready to turn your rage into your greatest weapon, start today. Breathe, reflect, redirect, and watch how your world shifts. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more timeless wisdom to sharpen your mind and steel your spirit. Until next time, keep transforming, keep rising. Stay strong, stay focused.